The Ewes Valley is in the southwest of Scotland. The A7 trunk road runs through the valley, linking us with Hawick and Edinburgh to the north and Langham and Carlisle to the south. The whole valley in total, from the top to the bottom, is about 9 miles long. The valley has around 100 residents and about 65 properties. So we're not the biggest with, by any means of these projects. In fact, I think we're quite small. The Ewes Valley has a very strong community spirit, and this project has actually proved this. The houses in the valley are predominantly in the bottom of the valley and are surrounded by woodland shelter belts. So this has made, when the engineers come into the valley, this has changed their way of thinking, because the wireless free signal was going from rooftop to rooftop originally, but because of the shelter belts, we had to change the plan of attack, really. It's a sheep farming area. It's got about 10 holiday lets, and it's got a lot of various other small businesses within the valley. 1/3 of all the properties want business usage, because they were all given the choice whether they wanted business, personal, or just signal to the property. As mentioned previously, no broadband is possible from the local exchange. It's a mechanical, not a digital exchange. Some residents have Avanti satellite broadband, and some residents have two-way satellite broadband. This is proven to be very expensive, and it has long latency, which is the time delay in receiving information through. I have a son, and I got him an Xbox Live for his Christmas, and you can play other people, in different places, and because of the time delay, he could never win the game, so we had to stop that one. What do we want? Residents and businesses would like a service which is non-restricting. At the moment, anybody with satellite broadband struggles to use new digital media such as iPlayer and Skype because of the low monthly allowance. We want it to be competitively priced, around what BT charge, maybe £15 to £25 a month. That's what I think residents are expecting to pay. We want it to be flexible and reliable. Businesses depend on internet connection for success of their business, so it must be reliable. Self-financing, it needs to be right from the start, so there's no financial difficulties in the future. That's quite a strong feeling in our valley, so we're quite convinced we'll have to get it right to begin with. Also, to be future-proof. This is a lot of work for everybody concerned, so we want to make sure it'll work for many, many years to come. Where are we now? We had an initial committee meeting in Langham, and the support was overwhelming from the residents. I don't think there was anybody from the valley that didn't turn up. This meeting was set about by me going to see my local MP. Present at the meeting was the Director of BT Scotland, Brendan Dick, our local MP, David Mundell, NFU Scotland. They were supporting the farming community, the South of Scotland Alliance, and various others. Very disappointingly, BT offered practically nothing. This is due to the commercial viability of the Ewes Valley for them. Then, at the meeting, I think the South of Scotland Alliance contacted, this is how we got our funding, Peter. So could you briefly say why that we got our funding for the survey?
Thanks, Alison. Well, my understanding is that the point at which we were looking for pioneer projects, we put a call far and wide through the enterprise agencies, and Scottish Enterprise, also the South of Scotland Alliance, and Mary Henderson from Scottish Enterprise nominated
Ewes Valley, yeah.
On the basis of the information she'd got from yourselves. There may have been others in the area that were also nominated, but Ewes Valley made it through.
Wow, didn't know that one. Okay, thank you. We published the outcome of this meeting in the local press and arranged a follow-up meeting with everybody involved. At this meeting, Clive Downing told us the different options to make broadband possible in the Ewes Valley. These were whether it would be wireless or wired system, community run or run by an individual broadband company. Now then, our valley the feeling is quite strong in our valley that we actually get the broadband company in to run it. We don't want to be like Colin's here. I'm very impressed, but yeah, but you know, our feeling is that we want the company to run this for us. I know we'll have to pay a little bit more for it, but this is what we're actually thinking just now. A committee was formed and the whole valley was surveyed and asked if they wanted broadband. They were asked if they wanted business residential or if they just wanted signal taken to their houses, because a lot of people own more than one house, and you know, it could be old people that were living in it, but they wouldn't be there up, you know, forever, so they wanted the signal to be able to go. There wasn't one house in the valley that said no, that every one of them was covered. All this information was plotted using a GIS, that's a Geographical Information System software, and it was sent to Peter and Clive at the Scottish Government for analysis. The maps proved inconclusive to the survey, but these maps and the information we gathered have been totally invaluable to ourselves. We have a chap within the valley, and he's just, that is his job. He is an absolute whiz on maps. There's one at the very end slide I'll show you. But this information has been given to the engineers when they came, so it just made their job so much easier. They'd planned to be here for 3 days, and I think they were here for 1.5, because we'd so much information gathered. The technical survey visit. The visit was scheduled for 3 days. We had an initial meeting in a local hotel to discuss the plan of attack for the 3 days. Some of the committee came. I think there was about 3 or 4 of the committee members came. Clive came and the 2 engineers. First we visited the backhaul supply and looked for a line of sight out of the town. Well, the backhaul supply was at a local school, and the line of sight, because of the shelter belts and the trees, the tree shelter belts, the houses, we couldn't go rooftop to rooftop. So what we done, we went up on the hills. We then had to walk halfway up this hill north of Langham before we gave up and got into a 4x4. A local farmer was very helpful and ferried us around for the rest of the day, which was invaluable. The engineers took a lot of photographs, which were later analysed for line of sight to each property. The cameras that they used zoomed in and they were so clear, and I mean they could see for forever. I mean they just were amazing. We knew from the start there would be some casualties because of the geography of the land. I think there has been, but we've still to confirm them. At the moment, the engineers are looking at a 3-mast system in the valley. We're awaiting a report from this, but I do think Clive's maybe got some answers. Yeah. Our next steps. Once we have the engineer's report, the committee and the CBS will meet probably again in Ewes Hall to discuss how to move this forward. We will be looking at Clive and Bob for help and advice on issues which will arise. Some issues which are listed, you know, above will affect all the projects, although there will be some specific to Ewes. We will be keeping the community and the landowners as informed as possible. I'm finding this is very, very important, because when you have a landowner that they're very keen for this project to take place, but when you turn around and say they're going to get a mast on their hill and there's got to be an electric line down to the nearest property, they sometimes get a little bit apprehensive. So I think the more information we can give them, but I think Clive and Peter are quite kindly going to visit them. And that's it. This is the end of my presentation. I'd just like to say thank you very much on behalf of Ewes Valley for making this possible. Thank you. That's the GIS mapping system that we used. There's red, green and orange circles, and each property, this is the information here, each property has been given a number, and that number, if it's business it's red, if it's orange it's residential, or if it's green they just want signal to the property only. So it gives us a good idea, and on the information sheet we've got the name of the people who live in the house, the address, the grid reference number for the map, what type of usage they want, business, private, and the postcode. And I mean, that information alone is, and we've also got phone numbers for all the properties. So I mean, if you need to get in touch with people, it makes things a lot easier.